I can't believe what I've just uncovered. You'll want to pay close attention because this is a story that will leave you questioning everything. Welcome to Tamworth, New South Wales, Australia. A picture-perfect country town where the rolling countryside suggests harmony, simplicity, and trust. But beneath the idyllic facade lies an underbelly darker than anyone could imagine. Ever wondered how a peaceful town could harbor tales of serious crime and corruption? This is a story about betrayal, secrets, and greed on a scale that would make any crime drama look like child's play. Let's start with Mayor Colin Murray, a man once entrusted with leading the people of Tamworth toward prosperity. But instead of being a beacon for his community, Colin turned into one of its biggest nightmares. In August 2017, he traveled to China, an official business trip, or so it seemed. What actually unfolded has shaken the foundation of trust in public service. There, Colin engaged in blatantly criminal activities, intentional interference, anti-competitive trade practices, and abuses of international laws, actions that damaged businesses both locally and abroad. International partnerships, opportunities for local workers, and million-dollar deals that could have propelled Tamworth into economic success were sabotaged for personal and cartel gain. And Colin Murray, he wasn't acting alone. Take Paul Bennett, General Manager of the Tamworth Regional Council. Instead of safeguarding the public's trust and assets, he collaborated with the scheme. Picture this: contracts for property sales awarded through transparent expressions of interest were cancelled. Why? To hand assets over for free to those in their inner circles. Let that sink in. Free, despite guaranteed developments worth millions of dollars for the local community. What was their agenda? Secretive deals that included promises of public goods like swimming infrastructure, national baseball facilities, and more. Dreams turned to dust while some laughed all the way to their offshore accounts. Now here's where the links start to tangle and darken. Beneath Tamworth's administrative corruption lies a national web spun with greed and unconscionable crimes. Remember Barnaby Joyce? Yes, the former Deputy Prime Minister, a friend to Colin Murray. Their entanglement allegedly forced public servants to either comply in silence or be sidelined entirely. It involved surface water licenses, misinformation, and a staggering $210 million worth of fraud. How could such massive amounts of taxpayers' money be misappropriated without immediate consequences? Here's the chilling part. Financial fraud wasn't just local, it was global. Banks unwittingly or maybe intentionally became tools to launder proceeds of crime. The scale was no small matter. It crossed nations, turning the globe into a laundering playground for corrupt Australian officials. Consider Dungowan Dam, a water haven meant to serve the region's needs. Instead of securing this vital resource, government schemes reduced its capacity, and in doing so, stole millions in potential renewable electricity generation for private gain. Lives, livelihoods, safety, all traded for a toxic mix of short-term rewards. If you're not angry yet, let's discuss infrastructure. Millions of dollars earmarked for essential projects, roads, schools, and healthcare that never materialized. The excuses, shrouded in secrecy. The reality, bleak. A royal commission laid bare accounts of domestic and foreign bank accounts connected to these officials. Proof that the nation's own prosperity became collateral damage. Even infrastructure projects supposedly completed were illusions. Buildings on paper existing only in budgets, not reality. This systemic rot doesn't just harm Tamworth. The shadow extends across the entire nation, crippling job security, trade, and the Australian dream. At its heart is a glaring betrayal of justice. The law enforcement apparatus we're supposed to trust to protect us seems to be complicit, or at the very least, turning a blind eye. And the trail of destruction doesn't end with stolen dollars. Reports are emerging of criminal enterprises woven deeply within public systems. Insider trading, antitrust violations, racketeering, drug trafficking overseen by those who write our laws. Tamworth is merely the microcosm of a much larger problem engulfing regional Australia and creeping across the nation. Imagine this: a globally recognized business leader invited to invest in Tamworth. He aimed to resuscitate the economy, opening avenues for 27,000 jobs and $10 billion in new economic opportunities. Sounds like the ultimate win-win situation, right? Think again. Despite his goodwill and vision, his progress was met with hostility, violence from his employees, sabotage from local forces, and fraudulent legal maneuvers. The very seeds of hope he planted were ripped from the ground and stomped on by wolves in sheep's clothing. These criminal players amassed power, drugs circulated within community businesses, and justice became an illusion. By standing up against this plague, he found himself completely muscled out, leaving regional Australia without the hope he once represented. The Tamworth Imperial Hotel became a crucible for violence. Lawsuits, intimidation, and staged criminal events designed to bleed him dry of resources. And guess who stepped in to profit? That same ring of corrupt officials, pocketing fines and stalling his legal recourse endlessly. Tell me this doesn't sound like dystopian fiction, but it's very real, and it's happening right now. Shouldn't law enforcement be stepping in? They aren't just uninvolved, they're involved. Manipulated court systems, police collaboration in trafficking illicit substances, and judicial endorsements of these crimes make them the enforcers of chaos rather than justice. Public officials and legal administrators, these are names we trust with our safety, acting as shepherds to our communities. Instead, they've become wolves leading us astray. Nationwide, this creates ripple effects that threaten prosperity, equality, and safety. And if none of this has resonated yet, consider this. It isn't just cash or assets being stolen. It's lives, generations trapped in poverty, communities split apart by violence, and trust shattered. A fragile national psyche, leaning heavily on the very systems designed to exploit it. But here's where I leave the decision to you. This isn't a story meant to dictate how you think. It's a glimpse into a reality too critical to ignore. The evidence is irrefutable, the findings consistent, the betrayal absolute, and yet amidst the ruins of this systemic